Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. Today's video is going to be some eyeshadow palettes that I wanted to revisit and go back to and ask myself the question, do I still like these? Yes or no? Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today's video is going to be a palettes revisited video where I like to go back to some older palettes that I have in my collection to A, get more use out of them, and B, to also determine now that I've had these for a while, do I still like them? And this is a series that I started doing last year, mainly because I want to go back to older palettes because some of these I love so much, but there's so much stuff coming out continuously that it's sometimes just hard to, go back to things we used to love a couple of years ago, but that's still perfectly good makeup. So then why not use it? So that's what where we're coming from with this video today. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 palettes here today for you. I'm going to show you the looks I did with them, and we're just going to chat about some older eyeshadow palettes. I hope you're here for it. Before we get into the video, I would like to let you know that I have fair skin, and this greatly influences how I feel about makeup. I have a cool to neutral undertone, which means that not everything works for me the way it does for a lot of creators on YouTube or other platforms as well. I have been a makeup reviewer for more than a decade though, so if I say something is a favorite, you can betcha it's a favorite. I love eyeshadow palettes, I love Essence and Catrice, and I love getting the use out of my makeup, which is why I'm doing this video today. So I hope you're here for that and that you would like to consider subscribing by clicking the button down below and joining my Snow Angel family. So first things first, what will we be featuring? I tried a bunch of these little Huda Beauty palettes again. I played with my revamped, as you will see in a minute, Natascha Denona Retro Glam. I played with the Menagerie Feral and the Slush palette from September Rose Cosmetics. So those are the things we are talking about in today's video. So those are the eyeshadow palettes that we're talking about in today's video. Let me get to these palettes. So first things first, the September Rose Slush palette is what's actually on my eyes today. So I thought we could chat about that. This, I have said many times in the past before, how I feel this is the bright rainbow colorful palette for people with lighter skin tones. Very often, rainbow palettes can be quite intense, and if it's too many primary colors, it can clash quite a bit if you have fair skin or if you have cool to neutral undertones like I do, which is why I've always liked this one a lot. Now, quality-wise, I think you can find better pigmented eyeshadow in other brands, especially by now. By the time when I bought this, I think in 2017 or 2018, I've had this palette for a good few years. It was definitely something different that we didn't see a lot yet. However, I think that if you try one of the Blend Bunny palettes, you can perhaps get a similar look. So depending on where you're at, it may be more easy to get your hands on this one or other ones. I personally don't know at the minute whether this is still available because it's not on the official website. And it is a UK-based indie brand, so it may be a bit hard to find by now. But one of the things I've always liked about this palette, and I've said it in the past, is how we get a gradient, not only from light to dark, but also within the full rainbow, and we do get at least one shimmer in every single row. I find a lot of rainbow palettes to be just too matte heavy, and we get absolutely no shimmers at all, which is such a shame. I'm wearing some of the purples and blues on my lids today. I did take this shimmer all over the lid, but I mainly used this in the crease. This I used in the outer V, and then I used this on the lower lash line. I used this on the lower lash line, and ended up using that lighter blue in the inner corner. So a bit of a purple blue moment. I thought of trying to recreate the icon that's on my channel. I actually used this palette to create that sunset eye that's on there, which I know features this really bright neon orange, but I didn't feel like it today. I was like, I want purples and blues, so that's what I went with. Yes, some of these are a little bit sheer. Like I mentioned, you can definitely find better quality rainbow palettes on the market today, but I like using what I have, and I really don't need any more rainbow palettes. In fact, in the past 2 declutters I've done, I've gotten rid of some of them because I feel I had too many, And you know, once you have a couple, you can do pretty much everything you'd like. So I'm gonna hang on to this for sure because I do really enjoy the shades that are in here. Sure, there is better quality makeup out there, but I don't see the need to get rid of this to only repurchase another palette that could take its place. I'm just gonna go into this because we wore some more colorful things this month as well. This is the Menagerie Cosmetics Feral palette. This is a very hefty palette, and I wanted to go back to this after featuring it in some of the colorful palette overviews that I did in April and May. I was like, I just have to go back to this again. I really love the packaging design on this. We have the wolf with the fairies and like this foresty theme, and all of the colors that we get inside the palette are somehow represented in this front, which Menagerie does a lot, which I just love. We have an actual magnet inside it, and what I have also found out through some of the previous videos I've done is that we get 2 grams of eyeshadow in every single pan, making this 24 grams of eyeshadow as well, which is another reason why this is so heavy. Not just because we get like sturdy packaging, but also because we just get a lot of product. So I have a go-to makeup look whenever I use this palette, and it's the 3 greens at the bottom. Those are just the ones I reach for the most. You might think, knowing what I love in terms of makeup, which is mainly neutrals and teals, that it would be this row at the top. No. I go in with the greens because especially that green shimmer right there, I just love. It's a duochrome. It's got a green base with a golden yellow flip. It looks stunning. It works really well. And it's only one of 3 shimmers we get in the entire palette. Could I have done more looks with this? Yes, I could. But I ran out of time and I wanted to film this video so I could get it up on time for you. But I will have done a couple of other looks, I'm sure, by the time this video goes up. But yeah, we have that, this in the crease, I believe, this in the outer V, this all over the lid, and I usually use the yellow as an inner corner highlight because it just works really well for that. The other shades in here are really lovely too. I will definitely have to go back to it again sometime soon this summer because I definitely want to play with those pinky shades and maybe clash it with the blue because I don't think I've ever done that. I think I always wore the neutrals with the blue, but I think this can be a really nice look too. What do you guys think? Then my revamped Natascha Denona Retro Glam. If you weren't here, in May I reorganized my 4 Natascha Denona midi eyeshadow palettes because I felt the color stories were not quite right for me. And before I filmed that video, I actually already tried this palette because it was a look I still wanted to do after my initial review. So I actually have 2 looks for this. One from before it was reorganized and one after it was reorganized. I know. I hope I make sense. I hope I make sense. But yeah, so I reorganized the Natascha Denona Retro Glam. I took out all of the pinks, you guys. I turned it into a cool toned, neutral heaven dream palette with greens. That's what this is. It's a cool tone green neutral eyeshadow palette, which actually is something that I've been craving. Like, I wish brands would actually make something like this because I would snatch it up in a heartbeat. I would love it. The only thing I'm missing in here is like a nice dark green. Like if it had a forest green, something that's deeper than this, I would have liked it even better because the entire bottom row here, they're all like grayish taupes, which are pretty. Like, they're very stunning shadows. Now, I don't remember anymore what I did for the look that I'm showing you right now, but I believe I went in with this all over the lid, if I remember correctly. I went with like a taupey look with like a green lower lash line and like a bit of green liner. That was the look I was going for because I didn't want it to look too green that day because I was actually filming lip swatches that day. So I wanted there to be as little color as possible for that video. But yeah, this is stunning. I love it. I love the Natascha Denona eyeshadow formula. This confirms it to me, and this also confirms to me that rearranging those Natascha Denona eyeshadow palettes was the right call for me, that it was the thing I had to do, because I can love a formula, but if I'm not inspired by the color story, I'm still not gonna reach for it. Sorry. And then we just have the 4 Huda Beauty palettes left. And when I got into this month, I was telling you how I wanted to do a look with each one and then do a look with the 2 purpley ones and a look with the 2 green ones. let me tell you, I ran out of time. I had to sit down and film this video today because else I wouldn't be able to get it up anymore. So I just did the one look with the two palettes combined for each of the color stories. And it actually works out fine. Let me talk about the purpley one. So we have the Purple Haze and we have the Pastel Lilacs. Now these are stunning palettes. I really like these little Huda Beauty palettes. Let me see how I can show you this. But I just feel that all of these palettes are missing something. And if you combine them, you get the palette you actually wanted to have. So if you want to do a full-on purple look, like I went in with all three of these purples, but then I also pulled the two purples and like something like this from the Pastel Lilac. And that way you get a full-on purple look. But do you just see how many warm tone neutrals we get over here? And also this one has quite a few peachy shades, which, like, as a standalone palette by itself, these definitely work. I like them. I've liked them a lot in the past. But together, combined, they make for a stunning purple palette. So I really enjoyed putting these together. It's something I've been saying for years, how if you have a couple of these Huda Beauty palettes, you really need to get to combining them and mixing and matching them, because a lot of the color stories actually overlap a little bit, where if you feel you don't get enough, in this case purple, from, for instance, the Purple Haze, you can complement it with some of the other palettes that were released in this little square 9-pan line, and you're going to get the purple look you wanted this to have. Of course, it doesn't make any sense if you had to run out and purchase them all, but if you happen to have a few of these lying about, and I know a lot of us just do, because if you were around when the first Obsessions palettes were launched, it was sort of like Pokemon. You gotta catch them all. And I've definitely only pick and choose which ones I like from the lineup. I haven't bought any of the recent ones that have come out, but I love combining these and creating other looks. And you can very easily travel with these. I do have to say though, that especially in this purple palettes, I wasn't loving the shimmer formula. When I was creating the looks, like, I really had to build up those shimmers, and I'm like, I'm not used to having to work that hard for making a Huda Beauty eyeshadow work. So I'm very happy I was able to combine these and do a look with them, because I do really like the colors. It's just not necessarily perfect for me, but this way I can get a lot more wear out of it, which is the aim of this series as well, to figure out how we can repurpose some of those older things that maybe we are a little less excited for, but this way I'm excited again for these little Huda Beauty palettes. And I feel similarly about the green ones. I have still one of the original Obsessions palette. This is the Emerald Obsessions. It's the only one I still have from the original lineup. I used to have the Amethyst, the Sapphire, and the Rainbow one, the Electric. Got rid of all of them. I've just kept the Emerald one around. And then also from the Haze collection, the Khaki Haze. And this suffers from exactly the same thing as the Purple Haze. There's only two Khakis. Well, this brown can pull a bit green if you try hard enough, but essentially it's a lot of warm tone neutrals. It's really just that middle row. But one of the reasons why I've always loved the Emerald Greens Obsessions is how you get just a full array of greens. Yes, we get those brighter things in the middle, and we have some minty shades, but do you see that bottom row? I don't know about you, but it's like the cool tone version of those Khakis. Like, these have a warm undertone, these have a cool undertone. Together, it made for a stunning look. And also here we get a gold, which is kind of missing. Well, we get a gold in here as well, but I don't love that one. But this has a bit more green to it, and it worked so perfectly in the inner corner combined with this. I really, really love the look I did. I used the warm tones on my top lid, the cooler tones on my bottom lid, and I had a look. I loved it. Used 6 shades, full-on green look. I loved it. Same reason for the purpley tones here. Again, do you need to run out and get these if you can still find them somewhere? I wouldn't recommend it. That goes for any of these palettes. That goes for any product I show. I never tell you to run out and get things, do I? I never really do. I feel that you have to be very mindful of your purchases, but if you do happen to have some of the green toned color stories from Huda Beauty lying about, see what happens if you mix and match them, because I think you can really take your eyeshadow to new heights if you end up doing that. And that's it. Those were the 7 palettes that I went back to in June. I'm gonna do this again in July because I'm really loving it. And I'm thinking maybe I should go back to some of my reorganized Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes because that's something I did in April and I have yet to like use it again. So I definitely made a cool tone one and a warm tone one. So do I want to put both of them in? Do I want to just pick one? I'm not sure yet. Plus, of course, if you have any requests for eyeshadow palettes that you know I own and that you would like me to go back to, then I would be happy to oblige and see if I can fit them into a video. I tend to just go with whatever my heart tells me when I do these videos, but I always select them at the start of the month. So if you'd like to see what I will be featuring in this video next month, then you need to check out my Shop My Stash, because I do a Shop My Stash at the start of every month, the first Tuesday usually, and then I just show you what eyeshadow palettes I will be reviewing that are new to me and what eyeshadow palettes I will be going back to. So you can always know exactly what I have in store for you in a lot of my videos if you just watch my Shop My Stash. So I know, shameless plug, I know, but I really hope you enjoyed watching today's video, that you got something out of it. Let me know in a comment down below what eyeshadow palettes you'd like to go back to, because I know a lot of people in my comments go back to their older palettes all the time. So I'd love to know what your makeup collection has led you to focus on this month. I would love to know. And yeah, thank you so very much for being here today. Thumbs it up, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more by me. I come on here 4 times a week, so I have a lot more content coming your way, and we will be tier ranking all of the eyeshadow palettes I tried in 2023 so far in my next video. So I hope you'd like to stay tuned for all of that goodness, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye-bye!